will see a fraction. In front of you, you will see a fraction. Now this is a fraction, and this is what's called a specific fraction. Proper fraction. Proper fraction. There we go. The 10 is called the numerator. Can all of you see my presentation?
Yeah, we can.
Guys, you can see my presentation. Okay, so let's continue. There, the 10 is the numerator. If I'm talking to you as the numerator, then I mean the 10 is the number that indicates how many parts have been selected. How many parts have been selected? So in this case, 10 parts have been selected. The 15 is the denominator. The 15 indicates how many parts there are in a whole, in one. So the 10, the numerator, tells you how many parts have been selected, and the 15 tells you how many parts there is in one whole. Okay, great. Here we have three types of fractions. Three types of fractions. The first one, that one, where the numerator is smaller than the denominator. The numerator is smaller than the denominator. That is called a proper fraction. A proper fraction. Then we have this one, where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. That is called an improper fraction. And then we have this one, the last one, where you will see there is a whole number and then a fraction where the numerator is smaller than the denominator, and that is called a mixed number. Now, when we work with fractions, we do not like mixed numbers. So before you start working with the fraction, convert the mixed number to an improper fraction. How do we convert a mixed number to an improper fraction? You say 1 times the denominator, 1 times the denominator plus the numerator. 1 times 15 is 15 plus 1 is 16. Okay. Great. Everyone still with me today? Everyone, hello? Yes, yes, yes. Guys, please keep those questions coming in. We've got someone, nope. Okay, Gerald, what do you mean? Say it again. Okay. 10 over 15, proper fraction. We like working with them. 16 over 15, improper fraction. We might not like them so much, but we can work with them. 1 and 1 over 15. We don't like working with them. So we need to change them from a mixed number to an improper fraction. How do we change them from a mixed number to an improper fraction? We take the whole number and we multiply it with the denominator. 1 times 15 gives me 15. Then we add the numerator. 15 plus 1 gives me 16. Now I have 16 over 15. 1 and 1 over 15 is 16 over 15. Okay, you happy with that one? Okay, cool. Here we go on. Now, simplification. And the first thing you need to know, simplification works both ways. What you need to know at this stage is as well, multiply and divide goes together, as plus and minus goes together. Okay, so if we have 10 over 15, and we were to simplify that, would you agree that 10 over 15 divided by 1 would still be 10 over 15? If I have anything and I divide it by 1, it would still be the same number. The other thing is also true. If I have 15 and I times it by 1, the answer would still be the same. If I have 1 pencil and I multiply it by 1, I would still have 1 pencil. If I have 1 cup of coffee and I divide it by 1, I would still have 1 cup of coffee. So anything multiplied by 1 and anything divided by 1 is still the same number. But now we can manipulate that 1 that we're dividing and multiplying with, because 3 over 3 is 1. So as long as we're multiplying or dividing by the same number at the top as at the bottom, the answer will still be the same. So I can say at any stage, multiply by 3 over 3 or divide by 2 over 2. Are you with me? And that now becomes important, because that means I can now say if a fraction is 10 over 15, I can say, okay, take the 10, divide it by 5, take the 15, divide it by 5, which is 5 over 5, which is 1. But now my fraction suddenly becomes 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 15 divided by 5 is 3, which gives me 2 over 3. And that is what's called simplification. Simplification. As long as you divide by the same number at the top and at the bottom, your answer will still be the same. That is called simplification. The other way is also true. I can say 2 over 3 times 9 at the bottom and 9 at the top. 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 9 is 27. So 2 over 3 is the same as 18 over 27. Can you see, if I divide or multiply by the same at the bottom and the same at the top, the answer, although this answer 18 over 27 is in a different format as 2 over 3. The fraction is still the same. Okay, great. Now, when I ask you a question about fractions, always simplify. So always do what I did here. Now, what do? You start by looking at the fraction. There's my fraction, 18 over 13. So now you start at the bottom of the number series, and you start dividing by the same number at the top and the same number at the bottom, and you cannot have a decimal as an answer. So can I divide 18 by 18? And 30 can both be divided by 1, but that would give me 18 and 13. Okay. So can I divide 18 and 30? Can I divide both those numbers by 2? Yes or no? Can 18 be divided by 2? Yes. Can 30 be divided by 2? Yes, great. So I can say divided by 2 divided by 2. That gives me 18 divided by 2 is 9. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Okay, now I go again. Can 9 and 15 both be divided by 2? No, they can't. 9 can be divided by 2, but it will give me 4.5, and I cannot have 4.5. 15 can be divided by 2, and it will give me 7.5, but I cannot have a half. I want whole numbers. So it cannot be divided by 2. Then I'll go to the next number. Can 9 and 15 both be divided by 3? Yes, it can. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So divide both by 3. That is simplification. That is this way. It can work the other way as well. And you remember what I said? Multiply and divide goes together. They're the opposites of each other. So I can multiply 3 by 3 and 5 by 3, and it will give me 9 over 15. I can multiply 9 over 15 by 2, and it will give me 18 over 30. Okay. That's simplification. And addition. Let's look at adding some decimals, some fractions. Okay, the trick with addition and subtraction is we cannot work with apples and pears. Cannot work with apples and pears, and by that I mean we cannot have different denominators. Okay, now you can now find, and your textbook will talk about finding the smallest common denominator. And you can now say, okay, what can I do with 15 and with 4 so that I find the smallest common denominator? That can work when you have like 6 and 4, or when you have 2 and 4, or when you have 3 and 9, because it's easy to find the smallest common denominator. But 15 and 4, it's a little bit more difficult to find the smallest denominator. So what I do to find a common denominator is I simply times the 2 by each other. 15 divided by 4 is 60. Now I made a mistake here. It's 60.
15 times 4.
And 4 by 15 is also 60. And now I simply say at the bottom I multiplied by 4, so multiply by 4 at the top. 10 times 4 is 40. At the bottom I multiplied by 15, so multiply 2 by 15 is 30. And now what you're going to say, 40 plus 30 is 70 over 60. And now there's 2 ways you can now go from here. You can either make it a mixed number immediately, or you can simplify immediately. I would suggest you simplify first. Easier to see that 10 can go into both, so it becomes 7 over 6, and then I make it a mixed number by saying how many times does 6 go into 7? Once, and what's left? 1 over 6. 10 over 15 plus 2 over 40 is 1 and 1 over 6. Okay. Everyone happy with that? Do you understand the principles of addition? Get a common denominator, and then you can add the numerators. The easiest way to get a common denominator is by multiplying the two numerators with each other. Multiplying the two numerators with each other. Okay, let's continue. Subtraction. Subtraction, the opposite of addition. Get a common denominator. 15 times 4 is 60. 10 times 4 is 40. 2 times 15 is 30. 40 minus 30 is 10 over 60. Divide both sides by 10. It becomes 1 over 6. The last illustration, the addition. From where? You said, remember, with plus and minus, you have to have the same denominator. To get the same denominator, they talk about the smallest common denominator. Smallest common denominator can sometimes be difficult to find. So what I do is I simply multiply the two denominators by each other. 15 times 4. 15 times 4, and this you're allowed to do on your calculator, is 60. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. But now, do not go and multiply 10 by 2. That's wrong. Do not multiply 10 by 2. You need to multiply 10 by 4 and 2 by 15. That gives you 40 plus 30. 40 plus 30 is 70 over 60. And then you start simplifying. You can go to the root of saying divided by 2, divided by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just did 10 immediately because if it's got a 0, you can divide by 10. So that becomes 70 divided by 10 is 7, 60 divided by 10 is 6. And then you make it a mixed number by saying, how many times does 6 go into 7? Once, and what is left is 1 over 6. Okay. Subtraction works exactly the same way, except you now change the plus to a minus. Okay. Multiplication. Multiplication is probably the easiest one of them all. You simply multiply. No tricks to it, you simply multiply. 10 multiplied by 4 is 60. 50 multiplied by 4 is 60. 10 multiplied by 2 is 20. 20 over 60, you simplify, divide by 10, divide by 10. It becomes 2 over 6, but it's not at its simplest form yet. Divide by 2, divide by 2, 1 over 3. Multiplication, definitely the simplest one of them all. Everyone understand that one? Okay. Guys, I'm going fast through it now. You must please say if you don't understand it. Division. Division. Division is also easy, almost as easy as multiplication. You just remember the rhyme. Keep it, change it, flip it. Keep it, change it, flip it. Keep the first fraction. Change the division to a multiplication sign. And flip the second fraction. Keep it, change it, flip it. Keep the first fraction, change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and flip the second fraction. And now you can simply complete. 10 times 4 is 40, divided by 15 times 2 is 30. We've got 40 over 30. I can divide both sides by 10. 10 becomes 4 over 3, and now I need to convert it to a mixed number. 3 goes into 4 one time, 1 is left over 3. Everyone with me on that one? Any questions? Guys, please speak to me. If I don't get anything, I'm gonna just assume that you are happy. But it looks like there's a lot of people coming in. They are happy. Everyone happy. Great stuff. Happy, 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 happy. Great. What's next? Let's see what's next. Mixed. Mixed. What is mixed? What does it mean? Now we get stuff that is mixed. We get 4 fractions or 3 fractions that we need to complete. Now, first, I need to tell you the wrong way of doing this. What is the wrong way? The wrong way is starting there and moving that way. We read from left to right. We cannot calculate from left to right. That is the wrong way. Is there anyone out there that can tell me what the right way is? Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Anyone else? Great stuff. No, more people. Brilliant, guys. Gerald, no, it just works out it just works out like that, but it's not always right to left. What the other people are saying is exactly right. Do not forget BODMAS. BODMAS. What does BODMAS say? I do my brackets first. Then I do my orders. Orders is powers and roots. Then I do my divide. Then I do my multiply. Then I do my addition. And last, I do my subtraction. So in this case, I am going to do this first. And then I'm going to do this. So I just write that one, just bring it down. Plus 2 times 3 is 6 over 4 times 5 is 20. 10 plus 6, 10 over 15 plus 6 over 20. What is the easiest way to get the common denominator? What is the common denominator in this case? Five. Okay. 300. Okay. You're both right. You're both right. Remember I said multiply and divide is the same thing? Or it's not the same thing, it's the opposite of each other. So you can either multiply at the top and make it a bigger fraction, or you can divide you can either multiply the denominator and make it a bigger fraction, or you can divide the denominator and make it a smaller fraction. But Duarte and Gerald, you said 5. I can divide 15 to get 5. What do I divide 15 by? To get 5. How do I get from 15 to 5? You divide by 3. Look at the top. What is 10 divided by 3? Can I do that? Ten divided by 3. Can you do that without getting a decimal? You can't divide 10 by 3 without getting a decimal. 10 divided by 3 is 3,33. We do not like working with decimals when we're doing fractions. So I suggest you do the easiest way. This is really the easiest way for me. Let's multiply at the bottom. 15 times 20 is 300. At the bottom, I times 15 by 20, so at the top, I times 10 by 20. That's 200. At the bottom, I multiply 20 by 15, so at the top, I'm going to multiply 6 by 15. That is 90. $290 over 300. I can immediately divide by 10 because there is a 0, so that becomes 29 over 50. And now the big simplification starts. Can I divide both 29 and 50 by 2? Or let's do it this way. We give a quick poll. Can this be simplified, yes or no? There's going to come a poll through. Can this be simplified, yes or no? Then you work it out on your own. Can 29 over 50 be simplified, yes or no? Poll comes through. Can 29 over 30 be simplified? Don't answer me. Answer the poll.
8 people.
9 people answered. Guys, I know there's over 35 people on this group. Come on, guys. Put your answer out there. Can 29 over 30 be simplified? Yes or no? No one knows who you are. No one's going to laugh at you for your answer. I promise you, I don't even know who you are. Put your answer out there. Can 29 over 30 be simplified? Answer on the poll quickly, people. On the poll quickly. Anyway, those of you that didn't answer on the poll, it doesn't really matter. The answer is no. Nothing can go into 29 that can go into 30. Isn't 29 a prime number anyway?
I think it is, yeah.
Can 29 be divided by anything except one in itself? I think 29 is a prime number, guys, which means it cannot be divided by anything.
Correct.
Okay, so the answer of 2/4 times 3/5 is 20. The answer of this 10/15 plus 2/4 times 3/5 is 29/30. Cannot be simplified. Guys, please do not forget about BODMAS. Do not forget about BODMAS. BODMAS always, always, always counts. So that is of crucial importance. Now you saw, you need to know and understand BODMAS. One of the building stones of mathematics or numeracy, what we are busy with at the moment, is BODMAS. Okay. That one. So we decided we are going to follow BODMAS. So by following BODMAS, I'm going to do that first. By doing BODMAS, I'm going to do that first. What am I going to do? You can either give me the answer, or you can, or tell me your steps. Do I need to change it in any way? Danny, I see what you're asking. Duarte, I see what you're doing. 300, you want to make it 300, okay? Is there anyone else? What should we do? You're allowed to say you don't know. Is that the answer? 20. Thinking. Keep it, change it, flip it. Tracy Lee, what's that 20? Another one, keep it, change it, flip it. Anyone else? Denominator. What about the denominator is 20? How did you get to 20? Okay. Anyone else? Keep it, change it, flip it. Anyone else? Guys, what is my first step? My first step is recognizing BODMAS. That's my first step. Recognizing BODMAS. BODMAS says I have to do the division first and then I can do subtraction. So if I have to do the division first, then I'm going to focus on the two numbers that needs to be divided. I'm not even going to think about this. I'm going to focus on 2/4 divided by 3/5. And when I'm focusing on 2/4 divided by 3/5, now comes my second step. Keep it, change it, flip it. So it becomes 2/4 multiplied by 5/3. And that gives me 2 times 5 is 10, over 3 times 4 is 12. Okay. And now, 10 over 12, I can either work with it that way, or I can simplify it. Let's simplify it. Divided by 2 becomes 5 over 6. Okay. All of you with me up to that stage? All of you up with me up to that stage? Great. And now I can say 10 over 15 minus 5 over 6. Okay. And now I can work with a common denominator. What's the common denominator that you would choose? $50? Okay. 3? No. 90? Okay. 30? Okay. Guys, you can now pick and choose for yourself. I would either say 6 times 15, which gives me 90, or if you can see that the smallest common denominator of the two is 30, then you can use that one as well. I'm going to go with my root and say 6 times 15, going to give me 90, and then at the top I'm going to have 10 times 6 is 60 minus 5 times 15 is, how much is 5 times 15? 75. Minus 60 minus 75 is minus, the answer is minus 15 over 90. Simplified, divide both by 5, minus 3 over 90 divided by 5. You
cannot divide it by 15. You get 1. 15 goes into 90.
Ah, okay. But what's 90 divided by 5?
That's not Let's see.
Not 18.
6.
18. 90 divided by 5 is 18. It's 6. There's no 6 or 18, guys.
And 6.
90 divided by 5 is 18.
Okay, but then you can go with 3 again.
And now you can say 3 divided, now you divide by 3 over 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 18 divided by 3 is 6. You got 1 over 6. Okay, but you could have gone the way immediately by saying 15 divided by 15 and 90 divided by 15. Okay. That's the one way. The other way you could have gone, you guys wanted to go with the lowest common denominator as 30. 30. How do I get from 15 to 30 is times 2, 10 times 2 is 20. Minus, how do I get from 6 to 30 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Gives me minus 5 over 30. I can, that is minus 1 over 6 divided by 5, divided by 5, minus 1 over 6. So can you see that we get the same answers, doesn't matter which way you go. Just remember to bring along the minus. Don't forget about the minus Okay, cool guys. Remember that, guys. One of my lectures once told me, if you're moving from Johannesburg to Cape Town, you can either go via Bloemfontein or you can go via Durban. Different routes, same destination. That's what happened here. Some guys said we're going to use 30 as a common denominator. Some guys said we're going to use 90 as a common denominator. In the end, we both got to Cape Town to -1/6. Okay. Great, guys. What's next? Fractions and decimals. Fractions and decimals. And we're going on. Okay, fractions and decimals. To get a decimal to a fraction, the easiest way to get a decimal to the fraction is make the denominator a multiple of either 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Make the denominator a multiple of 10. That's the easiest way to get from a fraction to a decimal. If they say convert this to a decimal, and you do not have to show calculations, you can go to your calculator and say 2 divided by 5. If they want you to show calculations, how do I go about? Well, I can make 5 10 by multiplying by 2. So what I do at the bottom, I do at the top, it becomes 4/10. 4/10 means it is 0,4. I write 4 and I put the comma just before it. Okay, how do I know the comma should be just before 4? There's 1 0 at the bottom, so the 4 needs to be 1 space of the comma. If I were to make 6/8 a fraction of a decimal, what do I do? I cannot convert 8 to 10. I cannot convert 8 to 100, but I can convert 8 to 1,000. Eight times 125 is 1,000. Now you guys are going to have to help me. What is 6 times 125?
900.
What is 6 times 125? 750. Thank you. 750. Great. So my answer is going to be 750. Now, where do I put the comma? Where do I put the comma? Well, I asked myself, how many spaces should there be after the comma? 1, 2, 3 spaces after the comma. So there's 1 space, 2 space, 3 spaces after the comma. So I can put the comma there. It becomes 0,75. 6/8 is 0,75. If they want you to show how you got to the answer, make the denominator a multiple of 10. Make the denominator a multiple of 10. Okay. Dwight, what do you mean by 3? Oh, 3 spaces. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Guys, that is conversion. Leaves us with question and answers. I'm glad we got to the end because time is flying. Any questions?
Exams.
Guys, we're gonna have a break until 10 past. I'm gonna break it now. If you've got questions and you want to hang around for the questions, I will answer that. But I want us, if you want to take a break, you can go take a toilet break or whatever. I want you to be back at 10 past 10. 10 past 11, please.
Just for them in the exams, is it going to be multiple choice or do they need to show the steps that they do when they complete it?
No, for multiple choice, you don't have to show steps.
So, but again, but if it's not a multiple choice, they do need to show the steps.
Calculation questions, the question will either tell you to show calculations, or the question will tell you,
Just for
don't show calculations. If it tells you to show calculations, please show the calculations. There's a hand. Gerald, you are welcome to ask. If you've got a mic, you can turn on your mic and ask over your mic as well. Otherwise, you can type it. That's fine.
Can you hear me?
But I see your hand. I see you want to ask something. You're more than welcome to ask.
But can you hear me?
Just repeat that again, Gerald.
Hear me?
Can you hear? We could, but it's very soft.
Okay, we're working on that. It's very soft. We're working on that.
Just go again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can go ahead, Gerald.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, superstar. What I know, are you able to go back on the illustration of the fraction in terms of the decimal? The last one that you just did.
The illustrations on the decimal.
Yes, the one,
Okay.
Yeah.
one that you just did now.
What specifically?
What specifically, Gerald?
Okay, the one that's a bit confusing me is when you multiply the 6/8 and you
6/8.
when you come
Okay.
to the point of saying times 25, how did you raise
That
that?
one.
Yes, okay, that one. You saying 6/8, then to work out the 8 to 1,000.
Okay, what I did with the 6/8 is what you want to do is you divide by if you have to convert a fraction to a decimal, is you want to make the denominator, the bottom part, you want to make that a multiple of 10, either 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000. Or you can even go up, but basically what I'm doing is I'm making it multiples of 10 because the digits after the comma is tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000. So by that, I can say, okay, now the top, the numerator is 750, but it is 750,000, and that I can write as a decimal as 0,750. Okay. I hope that explained a little bit to you.
There's connection or something.
Okay, guys, it looks like the sound on our side is not very good. Please put your questions in the chat box. Gerald, did that answer your question?
Might be disconnected. I don't think so.
Guys, can you hear me? I got to the 0,75 because it's 750. So I write down 750, and then there needs to be 3 spaces after the comma because that is represented by the zeros in the thousand. So basically, I said 750. And then it needs to be 3 spaces after the comma. So 750 is 3 characters. So if I put the comma before the 750, there's 3 spaces after the comma. Ellen, the 125 is something that I know 1,000 divided by 8 is 125.
Is there a way for them to perhaps like a shortcut to get that?
Yeah, it's a shortcut to get to 100,000. So I know 8 times 125 is 1,000, but you can say 1,000 divided by 8 as well, yes. If it gave you a decimal, you could have, let me tell you something, a trick here. You could have said 8 times 1,25 is 10. And then just multiply by 1,25 at the top as well. But I don't want to teach you that because now we're mixing decimals with fractions and that becomes a little bit of a slippery slope. But if you know if you know what you're doing, you could multiply 8 by 1,25, and then you could multiply 6 by 1,25, and then you can get an answer, but then you just need to know where to go with the comma.
Okay.
So what I suggest is you multiply the denominator by a whole number so that your answer becomes 10, 100, 100,000, 1,000, or something like that. Okay.
Right.
Sounds really can barely hear.
Maybe now.
Not great, Gerald. We can barely hear you. I think it might be best if you put your question in the chat.
No problem. No problem. Let me go on the chat.
Yeah, the sound is barely audible.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
Problem.
Okay, guys, if that's all, I'm going to take a quick coffee break. I will see you back in 5 minutes.